Well, hello there. Welcome to the Obi Thorn Alliance, and we got a really special live stream. We are doing Avengers Doomsday and Dune 3 coming out on the same day and comparing which one actually deserves to be on that day. And we got a very special guest with us talking about these films. Introduce yourself.
Hi guys, my name's Wilson. You can call me Useless Skills. And my channel is basically a movie review channel where I try to keep it to 5 minutes or less. You can find me on TikTok, YouTube Shorts. Try to keep the videos short to basically give you a gist of the movie. I try not to spoil it. And I have a 1 to 5 rating system. So if I give it a 5, obviously I love the movie. A 1, I absolutely didn't like the movie. And that's basically it. Most of my channel is that. Glad to be here.
Have you given out many 5s this year yet?
Definitely to Sinners. Definitely to Sinners. A Companion also. I did give 5s to Companion. I can't think of any other ones right now off the top of my head, but I'm sure I've given like 4s and 5s mostly this year. It's been a good year for most films that I've gone to see. I've enjoyed.
Maybe we could come back. I want to ask you a question about Sinners then. I'll ask you later. We both really like the movie, but I just want to hear other people's opinions on it because
no problem.
Yeah. Oh, should we do that last, Jacob, or get into it now? With Sinners?
Yeah.
Might as well do it now. Okay, so I really liked Sinners. I thought the best part was the start. I really enjoyed the musical history, the black culture. I thought that was really, really cool. And I thought the vampire stuff was the bad part of the movie. And like I just would have liked to seen it did the movie, I don't know, I reckon I would have liked it more if there wasn't vampires and instead it was like the repercussions of the mafia that they stole the alcohol from.
Right.
And dealing with the clan. I think I would have enjoyed that more than the vampires.
Okay.
I don't know. I just thought the vampires were like, they're just weird. Like I just thought I'd rather them not have been there or done a bit differently.
I get it.
I found the first 3/4 of the movie so good, and then when the vampires came, I was like, it was good. What are you doing this for? Like, what do you think is someone that gave it a 5? Like, did you love the vampire part?
Yeah,
or
I did. So, for me, it was more of there are very much underlying themes to the entire movie, and
there's quite a lot of elements.
Yeah, so there's a moment where I do understand because it's like very much a shift. Even the ratio of the screen shifts where it's like boom, vampire entrance. He literally jumps off the screen, and it's like, okay, now we're in like a completely different movie, and it's not it's like I like the tone shift, but also it serves the full context of what they began with, because the beginning showing black culture, showing the difference also in like even just like the scene with the little girl going from the dad shop to the mom shop, and the mom shop is by the white side of the street, and how their side of the street is different than the black side of the street, and how the Smoke and Stack brothers were able to just shoot somebody in the middle of the street. No police came, nobody came to help. They were just like, yeah, you take care of them. Here's some money. Sorry I shot you. Have a good day.
Yeah.
And basically the outlawlessness of that. And then the crazy outlawlessness of like the supernatural affecting their natural world, right? I like that. And obviously the fact that Remy was literally taking not only like heritage but culture from the people that he, I guess, takes or inhabits, because even Remy himself, like the face that he's showing us is of Irish descent, maybe.
Yeah.
And all the things that he says are from this point of view, but we know that he is not of Irish. Like in the end, when you see his actual form, he is like not even human. So whereas all the other the vampires, when they started turning, they were still themselves. They were just vampire versions of themselves.
Yeah.
So and then he wanted to take Sammy's talent to basically control and have a new identity or a new culture. And so that aspect of kind of what the South was back then and how they did that to, you know, our people, that kind of led me to enjoy it more. Also, obviously, all the homages to our, you know, culture roots, all the way back to Africa, all the way to now modern stuff. All that stuff really, I enjoyed it. Also, the fact that in the end, when they went to see Sammy when he was older, he didn't give up his dream. Like, even though, because basically a lot of people, you know, would say, hey, you suffered this, you know, tragedy, and it was like monumental, horrendous, supernatural event. Why did you then continue to do music if you knew that this was something that could have happened to you again, right? If you could have tempted this devil to come meet you again. And he was still able to live out his dream and stuff like that. So that's kind of the story of how we as a people progressed and still were able to have our culture and do all our things, even though we have this background of people trying to destroy that or take that or pervert it. And we were able to still like come through and have our, you know, who we are is still us. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think maybe I was just so enthralled by the beginning and the setting up of their like jazz bar or bar or something like that. Yeah, like I really enjoyed that when it moved away from it, I was like, no, I want more of that. Like I really enjoyed that part. So then I think that was more it. I was just like, I took away from what I really liked. And then, you know, I liked the idea of if it was moved away from supernatural and then they had, you know, mafia dealing with the clan. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, they still included the clan coming in at the end.
Yeah, so I think I myself would have liked it if his villains were, you know, he set this up and then these, you know, because he stole from the Italian mafia, he stole from the Irish mafia. They're the ones coming for him, and then he's got to take him out. And I thought that would have been cool. Or if we went with the vampires, maybe like a bit more leading up to it. Like we kind of saw the guy Remy dude go to someone's house and ask to come in. Then you didn't see anything of it for like an hour and a half, and then then it was big. I was like, I would have liked maybe some more like drops throughout the way going, oh, like someone finds, you know, their cattle that's been like gnawed to bits and someone's like, oh, what happened here? Like why is this happening? Like, is there vampires about kind of thing? Like something to kind of.
I get you.
Yeah, it went from 0 to 100.
Oh,
yeah, like I think I would have liked it either not there or built up the suspense. Because when I went to see the movie, I didn't know it was about vampires.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, like I saw the trailer, but the trailer kind of
it didn't give away.
The trailer I saw made out that maybe there was something in the water or the music was doing and something and sending people crazy, but it never really gave away that it was vampires.
Correct. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I went in there thinking like, how does his music turn people crazy? Like, what's going on? Why are people trying to knock down the doors and try getting in because of the music? But,
right.
So yeah,
I mean, technically it was because of the music.
Yeah.
Because that's what drew Remy there in the first place. But I agree with you. I think a lot of people felt like it was two very different movies kind of meshed together. And
there's a lot of elements to it.
Yeah, like for me it worked, but I understand if like even for me, what you're saying would have also worked. Like if they continued to keep it in the natural world and he was dealing with just the mob and the KKK and stuff, that still would have been fine with me. Like I said, like just because the way that they built these characters, you enjoy their story and you want it to like continue. But I also enjoy where it went and the possibilities of if they're ever going to visit these characters again, what, you know, Smoke is doing as a vampire now, how him and his girlfriend. Oh, by the way, spoilers for anybody that has not watched Sinners. I am so sorry. We just went straight into talking about this entire movie. But yeah, like it like their life together and how they saw the change and like basically how they were not able to be together when they became vampires to now during Sammy's time almost dying. Like, I don't know how many years have passed. I think it's like 80 years, 90 years later that they are able to like be together and be in society, but they're not able to be in the sun, unfortunately. But like that story would also have compelled me. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the both things work for me, but I understand why it didn't work for you. You didn't like the tone shift of.
Well, I kind of got the sense that maybe the writers and directors wanted to showcase Black history, and they're like, oh, maybe we need to add something that will attract people to this more. So let's just add vampires. I thought it was like,
oh, I get you.
A movie about Black history and then vampires, just to spread the net of more people that would want to watch it. Where I would have wanted to watch it either way.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that was one of the thoughts. Because it was directed and written by Ryan Coogler, like directly from him. I don't think that because he said he had the script written and stuff, like he was able to do. They told him to do whatever he wanted. So I assume he wanted to mess the genres. He wanted to like make, because that's even what he did in Black Panther. If you've seen Black Panther, he mixed this like celebration of Black culture, of African culture, and superheroes, and it's like. He was like, oh, how can I do that now with like horror, So I actually enjoy it, and I applaud it, and I want more of it because I've seen plenty of Black history movies where we're either slaves or we're running away from things, or obviously because America in the past has not been good, but I've never seen something where it's like, okay, we are, sure, we're back in those times and there's, segregation and all sort of stuff, but now there's also a supernatural element. And I thought that was, to me, refreshing because it's something that I wasn't expecting as well, because I also did not know that there were vampires because I saw the trailer and I didn't understand that's what was going on. But when it happened, I was like, this is interesting and I enjoy it. But also, it's the character. Like, I assume you enjoyed Remy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you kind of opened my eyes to something different then, because I was thinking the whole adding the supernatural element, I was like, does this take away from the history side of it? And people start to go, is this all made up? But then in saying that, if you then went with how history actually played out, then, the Black people are the victims, and then it becomes a real sad, somber movie. You don't get to be celebrated as heroes in the movie. And then, or you change the narrative and make them the heroes, and then do people then go, well, that's not what happened, so that's a lie, So maybe adding the supernatural element allows people to, appreciate the real history and go, yeah, but don't forget, like, this isn't the true story. Like, it's got a mixture of, I don't know, because someone could watch that and think that was completely true, where like it's based upon what life was like, but don't get fiction.
I mean, majority of it is true besides the vampires. Majority of it is true, but yeah, I think if a child, let's say, is somehow watching this, maybe I think it's PG-13, right? I think it was rated R.
Maybe more,
no, definitely rated R. But if like a child is watching this and they're like, yeah, this definitely happened, and then their vampires attacked, I would understand that. But like a regular adult watching it obviously is going to be like, okay, they took some liberty.
I was just saying more the playing out of the historical part of it. I guess you want to, acknowledge the past, but also by adding in the vampire element, you're trying to, try and make it more fun instead of sad and somber.
I guess. Yeah. I agree.
And I guess also, that supernatural element really makes it aware that this is not a true story.
Right.
This is
correct.
A fake story because there's vampires in it.
Yeah. I mean, again, it is also like how most of those movies end. Like if you've seen, 12 Years a Slave or even Django Unchained, that they made like a fun Western version of what it was like to be a slave back then. Most of those movies end with the Black characters either being murdered, still not in a good place by the end of the movie, trying to live a better life, but really they're still stuck in that time period. So ultimately, it's still a very, in my opinion, a somber movie because the main character, one of the main characters is, both of them are dead. Technically, one of them is dead in a different way, but they're both dead. And the main character's wife is dead. We find out that his son is also dead. All of the friends of theirs that they invited to the juke joint are dead. Like this little Asian girl's back home and she's never going to see her mom and dad and doesn't understand why, So all of these things, like at the end, it's very sad, and it's basically just like a reimagining of another way that
just
that stuff happened.
Way. Well, I think either way, it was a really good movie. I think the audience it was made for liked it.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
1,000%.
And then those that like myself that didn't know what to expect but go to see a lot of movies walked away going, that was pretty good. You know,
Still
so
good.
I think
I
so overall it did well. And has there been any award? Is it?
I believe it will. It will definitely.
Yeah, like it hasn't passed its award season
It
yet.
hasn't, but it definitely will be up there.
So it will probably do really well with that. So
I definitely think the weakest element is the Indians. We never get to see.
Oh yeah, the Native Americans.
Yeah, for me, I was expecting that they were going to show up
and save people. Yeah, I agree.
Well, they kind of planted that and then moved away from it, but maybe that was an afterthought. Maybe they, started going with one storyline, and then, as you said, he had free reign to change it. Probably like, nah, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
I guess you could have edited it out, but I don't know. Maybe you wanted to still pay, a bit of homage to, Native Americans in the area.
Right. Well, the whole thing with the Native Americans is they actually that's in their culture. They believe in supernatural stuff and spirits, and they believe that generations pass down through generations, like knowledge and stuff like that. So they their ancestors were hunting these supernatural things. So that's why he included that. But also the fact that they didn't show up again, like they literally told the white couple, "Hey, this man is very bad. Yes. And you got to hand him to us if you want to be saved." And they were like, "No, we don't trust you. You're brown. We trust this man. He's white."
Yeah.
And then they were murdered. So they were just like, you know what? We're washing our hands of it. It's no longer a problem. We're out of here. And
I'd like to know where this idea came up about, you've got to invite them into their house. They can't just come in through the door. Where that comes from. Is that some kind of
that's an old vampire trope. The same thing with the garlic. They also they included all of the old tropes.
Yeah.
The garlic hurting them, the crucifix, the stake through the hearts, inviting them in. That's all old vampire lore. I don't know where it comes from. I'm sure it has to do with something with the church, because the whole thing with the undead and vampires are very Catholic. It's a very Catholic enemy.
All I know, I enjoyed it significantly more than Nosferatu. I really found. I found that a really hard watch. So I actually enjoyed it a hell of a lot more.
I agree 1,000%.
Yeah. Okay, let's move into what we're here for. So, so we're gonna be comparing Dune and the MCU. They're both. So we got Avengers: Doomsday and Dune 3 coming out supposedly on the same day. They might change that. Who knows?
Okay.
May have already changed it. So, at the moment, do you have a preference? Are you a Dune lover, or you're more of an MCU lover, or you don't see them competing? What are your thoughts?
I enjoy both. I do enjoy both, but obviously Avengers has more of a built-in, let's say, history with me, with probably most of us. So I would say that I enjoy the event. I'm definitely looking forward to the Avengers movie, the Doomsday one, than the Dune one. I've never read the Dune books. I recently rewatched the original Dune, the one that was made back in the day.
Yeah.
And it was okay. It was all right for what it was. And I recently started watching actually The Foundation on Apple TV Plus, which apparently
that's based on a book as well.
Yeah, that's like apparently more towards what that vision is supposed to be. So because Dune is like a variation of The Foundation, but The Foundation is like the first sci-fi thing that basically created Dune, and then Dune created Star Wars, and it's all over the place. But yeah, my favorite is definitely Avengers.
Yeah. So out of the so far I've got 2 Dune movies. What would you give each one out of 5 roughly? What do you?
And there's the TV show Prophecy as well.
I'd say the first one I would give a 3.5 out of 5. I would give a 3.5 out of 5. It's good if you really enjoy very slow-paced sci-fi action, the second one I would give it maybe a 4 out of 5, because it definitely had a lot more action and in my opinion actually told a story. The first one told a story. It was just it took a long time to tell it.
Well, what about you, Jake? To tell everyone who hasn't heard this yet, what's your thoughts on Dune?
It's very much more of a spectacle, and I think it expects you to have read the books, but unfortunately not everyone has read the books, so I personally don't like from a Dune fan that says, "Oh, you're supposed to have read the books." And when you say you are supposed to and give the opinion that you don't enjoy the story. So I think the only reason I actually enjoyed the first movie is because of Jason Momoa's character. He was like the only charisma or momentum that got me through the first movie. Like the first movie is very boring. It expects you to know all the faction, all the lore, everything to do with it. And then once he dies, it's like, oh, you lost the best character. Yeah. But the second one is a lot better. And Dune Prophecy, I do have to say, if it wasn't for the Australian actor, the show's not that good.
Where for me, I think Dune's fine. I just don't understand why people love it so much. Like to me, I just think it's just an okay sci-fi. Like that's it. I just think it's okay, but people carry on like it's better than Star Wars, and I'm like, no, like come on, like like yeah. For me, it's like they're solid. I watch them, I'd recommend them, but beyond that, it's, I don't see it being a movie that people will, but I don't see why we would in 5 years' time still be talking about Dune. You'd be like, oh yeah, that was that Timothée Chalamet thing that came out a few years back. But people are going on like it's the best thing ever. And if you don't get it, there's something wrong with you, or you don't understand it. That's why you don't like it. And I'm like, I get it. It's just fine. It's like, I don't think comparing it to, I know these aren't necessarily sci-fi, but other franchises in the past that have came through that didn't reach Star Wars heights, like the Hunger Games, I think is a million times better than Dune. Like I thought all the Hunger Games were good. I think if even
not all of them, but go ahead.
But like overall, I like the Hunger Games, and that's something I'd revisit. There was another show like that where they were like separated into segregated characters. Is it the Divergent or something? The Divergent series, and I really liked that. And I'm just like, Dune to me is as good as those, or maybe a little bit worse. But no one's talking about them. But everyone talks about Dune as being. Is it the Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet thing that makes people go ballistic for it? Because I don't get it.
It might be the Jason Momoa.
Yeah, like for me, Zendaya is like meh, but Timothée Chalamet, I wasn't convinced until I seen him play
Wonka.
Well, Wonka was pretty cool. Like I thought that showed his variety, but I actually really enjoyed the where he played the singer. What's it called? Bob Dylan.
Yeah,
yeah. So I got a lot of respect for Timothée Chalamet after seeing him do Wonka and then be Bob Dylan. I was like, okay, he's got some range on him. He's not just a nepo baby, but yeah. So for me, Dune's fine. I don't hate it. I just don't understand why people carry on like it's the biggest thing ever. The fact that we're comparing Dune 3 to an Avengers movie, I think, is wild. Like they're not even on the same planet. Like,
I mean, I agree with you, but I disagree with you a little bit. I agree that I don't understand the hype for Dune because it's not really my cup of tea specifically. Yeah. I enjoy it. It's not that I don't enjoy it. I enjoy it for the movie that it is. Yeah. I don't feel like, just to go back on what you had said, I don't feel like they have to hold our hand to explain to us the lore. Yeah. Because you kind of understand the dynamic. They kind of explain it in a way. I believe they should have explained it a little better. Yeah. Also, if they explained it too much, it would have got it even longer and more boring story.
Balance.
So I enjoyed the movie for what it was. Like I said, especially the second one, because I didn't have to focus so much on knowing the lore or what's happening. The action was happening right in front of me, so it's a lot easier and better. And I definitely agree with you that Jason Momoa carried the first one almost entirely on his back. And well, the other thing that you said that I don't agree with, the Dune franchise is very old. So much like the comic book franchise, it has a built-in audience that has read the books, knows the lore, is like the best thing in the world to them. And
Yeah.
so I understand why they feel, defensive and want to say it's, the best ever and yada, yada. I do agree that this is the best iteration of Dune, having watched the original one and now this. I haven't read the book, so I don't know how one-to-one or how amazing it is at, keeping up with the actual lore or story. But I think it's the best rendition that they've had. So they are very much like, this is the best. And if you don't like it, I understand that, because I do feel that way about like the Batman that's right behind you. It's good. So I enjoy people enjoying their stuff and defending their things. That's all great and fine. Overall, though, like for basically, I would say general audiences, which I feel we are for Dune, right? We're not like die-hard Dune fans.
No.
It was just a serviceable movie. It was okay. Yeah. It's not like I don't know how you guys feel about the Alien franchise, but it's not Alien. You know what I mean? Like Alien completely changed the sci-fi genre. It's like amazing. Dune feels a little late. Like I understand it's old and it basically did change the sci-fi genre back in the day, in books, but in film, it's a little late to the party. We've already had several Star Wars. We've already had Star Treks, like all of the traversing planets, intergalactic, corporations and empires running planets and doing all this stuff. And it's been done. And then also the core story of a savior that's going to save this planet or whatever, a chosen one. Like we've seen that so many times now. And they haven't it doesn't really revamp that narrative either. So it doesn't feel fresh or new to the general audiences. So it's like, to us, it's just a regular movie. But obviously to the Dune fans, they're like, oh my God, finally, my favorite franchise. I can see it on screen.
Oh, I definitely appreciate people that have been fans of it and read the books. But I reckon there's just a lot of people there that this is all they've seen, the movies, just like myself. And then they generally think they're really good movies.
Oh, well.
Without reading the books. I'm like, really? Like, you're just getting fooled by the fact that there's sand and worms. Like, yes, it visually looks good, but
it looks amazing.
It's like, we could do 4K drone footage of, of the dunes then, if that's what you like seeing. Like, really, like, it's not hard to make something visually look good. It's like, I don't understand the obsession with the Avatar franchise. I think that, again, that's just, I just think that's all just tricks. People go, oh, it's pretty. Like the first movie, just because it came out at the height of 3D, when 3D was like these knees, people got blown away. And I think it's a pretty rubbish movie. I think people get blown away by the 3D. The second one was even worse. And then the third one I think is going to be worse again. But people just like, oh my God, it looks pretty. It's like, that just because something looks good doesn't make it a good movie. Like in that case, just watch a David Attenborough documentary then if you want to look at something that looks pretty. Like
it's funny because as you said, if you just want to see dudes, we could just shoot a bunch of dudes in 4K. I was like, and then put David Attenborough's voice over it. Yeah. Boom, dude.
Yeah, so I just think Avatar's one for me that I'm a bit iffy on because I'm like, the story actually is pretty average and you go, and it actually makes no sense really, most of it.
I agree.
And then you go, but it looks pretty. And I'm not fooled by that. I don't care. If something looks pretty, I'm not going to stare at it for 3 hours and just watch garbage that doesn't make any sense just because it looks pretty. But the second one was like 2 hours of just swimming underwater for no reason, just other than to show us that this is what it would look like underwater.
Right, yeah. Look at our amazing graphics.
Fire.
Oh, yeah, the next one's fire. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So we're probably going to spend 3 hours in a fiery forest or something.
Yeah. Yeah, so okay, that's a bit of a tangent. So we get the consensus that all of us are more invested in the MCU than Dune. In saying that, it's almost an unfair comparison when you've got what are we up to, like 50 movies nearly in the MCU, like in like a million characters. Like it's great. It is a bit of an unfair comparison.
Correct. Yes, correct. But I would say if you compare the recent MCU movies to these two Dune movies, I think Dune has more of an advantage there.
Yeah, I think Dune is probably, outperforming at the box office or by people anyway. I think, but there is that whole MCU fatigue. Yeah. When you bring out that many movies, not every movie can be good. And then you've also got this whole battle of, I guess Dune's trying to follow the books, where MCU, there's a million versions of each character depending on who wrote the comics. So you follow one version, you piss off someone that liked the other version. Same with like Batman. You know, like I'm a massive Batman fan. There's so many versions of the comic books. Depending on which version you do the movie on, you're going to annoy one set of fans and disappoint another.
You can't win.
Yeah. So where the MCU had that battle, but I'm without a doubt looking forward to Avengers Doomsday more. Dune might be better though, you know, like it probably will be, you know, because MCU, you know, they're very hit and miss.
I agree. I agree, but I would say it depends. To me, I know it's the Russo brothers, and they have recently not had any really big hits, in my opinion, especially outside the MCU. The Gray Man on Netflix. They did another one for Netflix with Chris Hemsworth. I forgot the name of it. They did like two of those. I forgot the name of it, but the first one was not that bad, but it wasn't the best. And just everything they've come out with has, like, after Avengers, has really not been as epic as Avengers. But also, I feel like their hype or the hype that people gave them was a lot because it was built on like other movies' hype. Like they did, I think, Civil War. Yeah, like they did Civil War, and people were like, "Oh, that's like the best, one of the best MCU movies." And I'm like, I agree, but it was because, you know, the first Captain America had built that hype for this one, right? And then what was the other one they did? I don't know if they did Civil War, but they definitely did the Endgame and right. And so both of those really amazing, but they were built off the hype of all the other 10 movies of each character had that built up to this, you know, epic conclusion that they've been building for years. So it's like, you know, I hope you don't drop the ball so heavily with all of this behind you, right? But then after that, when, you know, I don't know who took over Disney, but basically they decided we're going to do 20 Disney Plus shows and 500 movies a year in the same month. We're going to have 20 MCU projects. And I'm like, that's OD. You oversaturated the entire market. But there were some gems in there. But I felt like even though they did that, if they had like dedicated people for these different franchises and actually, you know, helm these people that were, I don't know, fans or actually understood the material that they were working with, I feel like they would have actually been, most of them, very good projects. But because they all had to go through, you know, Kevin Feige, it's like, listen, I have to focus on, you know, all of these projects at the same time, and they all have to be good. It's literally impossible. He's only one person. And then also there's the studio interference and all sorts of stuff. So ultimately, I just felt like the MCU, to me, would have been in a better place had they done what Dune is doing, which is just one movie every maybe 2 years or so.
Yeah.
And working on the lore and building, you know, that stuff. Basically what they did in the first, you know, in the first phase.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just feel like
their success has almost been their downfall, because I think that the Avengers Endgame and Infinity War was so good that it's almost, should they just stop then? And everything after that will seem bad. You know, I agree. If you bring out something that good, it's very hard to follow it up. So everything will always get compared to it. I just think I'm not saying I wanted it to end there, but everything would just be a failure in comparison.
I agree. But I just felt like even if they, I disagree a little bit, because I felt that way with every installment that I liked, right? So like when, for example, Captain America Civil War came out, I'm like, there's not going to be another way that they can, you know? And then Captain America, what was it? No, sorry. Captain America Civil War was after Civil War. My bad. I keep forgetting because there's so many.
Winter Soldier?
It was, what?
Winter Soldier? Or was that before Civil War?
No. Winter Soldier was before Civil War.
Yeah.
But yeah, Winter Soldier came out, and I was like, they're not going to be able to top this. This is one of the best comic book movies. And then they did Civil War, and I was like, I really enjoyed Civil War. I still don't think it's better than Winter Soldier, but that's semantics.
Yeah.
And then they did Avengers. What's the one with the robot?
Oh, Age of
Ultron.
Ultron.
Yeah, Age of Ultron, and that was not good. So then they came back and kind of revamped it with the Endgame and the Infinity War, and they ended it on a high note, that phase. So I thought there is a way that you can like not really top Endgame because all of the characters were there and it was like literally a big tentpole character died. So I don't believe it's possible to top it, but at least meet those expectations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and they do that every time in also the comic books, which you mentioned. There are different versions of these characters because they continue to have these like epic battles that at the end everyone dies. So it's new universe, the Iron Man again, reborn, and all this other stuff. And they're able to keep telling these stories and retelling them and telling them in a good way. So I believe they can do that in movie form. It's just the way that they did it, I don't think would have been the same. Like, I do agree with you that they're not going to be able to, or they haven't actually been able to, but they weren't even if they tried, I don't think they would have been able to build the phase the way that they did the first one. Because the first one was a fluke. Like, literally, it was a fluke. Yeah. So I don't think they were going to get lightning in a bottle a second time. But they could have got something close. And again, if you look at projects like Shang-Chi or the Spider-Man, whichever one the last one was, with Wire and all sorts of stuff, like they have event films that could meet Avengers standards if they tried. But and even though I agree that the last Spider-Man is not as obviously not even the story-wise it didn't even make sense, but ultimately it was still an event movie. Like, I still felt the same way that I felt when I went to see like Avengers for the first time. I felt that way in this because they're bringing back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and all of them are coming together, and it's like epic. They brought back Willem Dafoe and Doc Ock and everybody. It was really, to me, nostalgic, but also fresh enough. And then there were real consequences. He lost Aunt May in that. Oh, also spoilers for every MCU film. I am so sorry to anyone listening. Spoilers for everything. But yeah, so I feel like they can at least meet the Endgame or the other one expectations. But I don't think they're going to pass it, but they can at least meet it. And I feel like they failed horribly because they've gone too much.
They built up this thing so big with Thanos, and it was great that after that kind of. I think a lot of friends that I know that aren't diehard fans kind of tuned in after that because they're like, oh, that's it. They're done, right? Like, they've completed everything. Like, it's all done. So everything after that, they're like, oh, what's it matter? They beat Thanos.
Right.
And then you've got to try and convince people that we were so convinced for 30 movies that he was the biggest, baddest villain, and then he's nothing in comparison to all these next ones.
Why
are we – if they struggled so hard to beat Thanos, how are they going to beat someone badder than Thanos? Like, you're like, come on. So I think like they kind of like, I don't know, where those, to me, I like Marvel most when they don't do the, not team ups. I like crossovers and cameos, but I like it. Each character has their own
comic
character. They get their origin story, maybe 3 or 4 movies, and then maybe have some cameos and crossovers.
Right.
But you built, and then now they've got this such a crazy web of stories, and you've got to watch the shows. Where if I tried to get someone new into this, they wouldn't know where to begin. It's not going to happen. It's like they're like, oh, I want to watch the new movie that's coming out. Oh, well, you got to go watch, like 200 hours worth of stuff first, and then we'll go see it. And you're like, oh, don't worry then.
Yeah, don't worry.
And like, so they're where, if they just stuck in their own lane, they go like Spider-Man movies are separate, but maybe a cameo here and there. Daredevil has his own thing. You can just focus on. Well, I only like Spider-Man and Daredevil. I don't care about Thor. I don't care about this person because they don't cross over. I don't need to. But they do cross over, so you do need to.
And a lot is the problem. A lot of crossover.
So like if I got my wife to come watch, Doomsday, she'll be like, why is like Tony Stark the bad guy? She like won't understand why that's going on and like trying to explain all these things where, I think, they created something that's either – gonna be like a lot of people are gonna love, or you're either gonna love it because you've stuck through and through, or you've just tuned off.
Correct.
Like I don't see how they find new fans now.
Yeah, that's exactly what my my wife, who also does not follow all the movies, that's exactly her opinion. Because initially, when like the first Iron Man was coming out, and they started building, the Avengers, the first one, I knew all these characters because these were all very big Marvel characters. But then when like Howard the Duck started showing up, the Eternals, and what was the other one that nobody knows? The Guardians of the Galaxy. So all these guys started showing up, and she was like, I don't know any of these characters, like I've never ever heard of them. And I'm like, yeah, I know. They show up in the comics that I read in cameos here and there, but the way that they kind of integrated all of this into like one universe, it messed up them being able to tell these separate stories, right? So, and that's the biggest downfall of Thunderbolts that just happened. I think Thunderbolts is a good film.
It is.
If you don't know any of these characters, which most people don't, it's like these are all literally side characters from other movies or TV shows.
Yeah.
That also didn't do well. Like if it was like Captain America, and not Captain America, my bad. Falcon and the Winter Soldier's show was where they introduced Secret Agent, who is a character in this movie that if nobody saw that show, they don't know where he just came from, right?
Yes.
What was the other one? The Val.
Black Widow's sister.
Huh?
Yeah, you need to watch Black Widow the movie to understand.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, which like a lot of people may not have seen that because that went straight to streaming. So because it's during COVID, so some people may not have known anything about that film.
Correct. And Yelena, I love Yelena. She's a great character. They even built her character more in the Hawkeye show. That if you didn't see the Hawkeye show, you don't have this connection to Yelena that you might have had you watched the show, right? Because
you probably wouldn't know much about who Valentino was as well. Yeah. Like, there's heaps of things where that movie was for the true fans that watched everything. Because otherwise, Thunderbolt, you like zero clue. But maybe the beauty was that you didn't need to. You just know they're misfits, and they're not really the heroes. Like maybe that's.
I feel like it still works in that way, which is the way that I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy. Because I feel like not a lot of people knew who Guardians of the Galaxy was. And it was a band of misfits come together and they save the galaxy. And you're like, wow, this is really entertaining. And these characters are different and they're fun. And I felt the same about Thunderbolts. The only problem is that when Guardians of the Galaxy came out, MCU hype was incredible, So everyone's like, whatever MCU does, I'm going to watch because it's amazing. Whereas since they kind of, shot themselves in the foot, by the time Thunderbolts comes out, after Captain America 4, which was not good, they're like, yeah, I'm not going to watch this project that I don't know any of these characters, who they are, and, I'm not going to give it a chance. And so that's why it didn't do well at the box office. Not because it's a bad movie, not at all, but because they weren't willing to give the MCU a chance like they were for Guardians of the Galaxy, And so
I'm very confused about what the lore is anymore, like who is powerful, because we had Kang, and he was the one that was at the end of time, and he's seen everything, but then he's kind of like, we don't talk about him because of what happened in his personal life.
But also he was defeated by Ant-Man, so how bad could he have been?
And then so we brush over that, and then now we're dealing with Doctor Doom, and again I don't know enough about him to know is he the big bad guy? And then and then with the Eternals and dealing with celestial beings, are they even more powerful than all of them? Like who is
the top?
More powerful?
I agree.
Like I'm very confused. We've got celestial beings, we've got planets, we've got people that have seen everything and have been at the end of the universe. We've got people that can cross between multiverses. Like, is America Chavez? Is she the most powerful thing because she can swap between multiverses, but we don't see it anymore? Like, I don't know I don't know the lore of who is and what they should be afraid of.
Right. Or is it I call her Khaleesi because she's always going to be Khaleesi to me. But if you've seen is it Secret Wars? What was the name of that? Right. Secret, and she was like an amalgamation of like the Hulk and everyone all together. So is she the most powerful being now? You don't know. We don't know.
See, that show annoyed me because I really like I love the idea of Secret War. I thought the first scene with the whole narrated spiel over the top was like, this is epic. You know, there's people hiding in plain sight. You don't know who they are. You don't know who you can trust. And then it just fell off a cliff, the show. It got really, like, it had the potential to be amazing. It was well below average.
1,000%. And again, they had the hype. Like Samuel L. Jackson, since Winter Soldier, you're like, Samuel Jackson's badass. And then they had who's the other one? I forgot his name. Mendelsohn, the Skrull that was introduced in Captain Marvel, who I thought was like the best part of the Captain Marvel thing was his character, not even Jude Law or any of that stuff. Just his introduction was like, this is amazing. Like, there's a Skrull, and and Captain America's after this, guy, but he's actually a nice guy. He's not a bad guy. And he's just trying to save his planet and his people. And they have to now hide here in plain sight. Like, all that, again, amazing. And then they just destroyed even those characters. Like, they just betrayed those characters. So
I weirdly find superhero shows and movies most interesting when they're either like ground level or they're political. I don't know why I like the mix of superheroes and politics. Like in Secret Invasion, this idea they're trying to create a world war by making people think like Russia are the bad guys, these countries are fight. Like that to me is really genius, so that the Skrulls can come over and they can live happily in our planet, take over it. And like that to me is really cool. Like I really enjoy, like, obviously you're a Batman fan. I really like the Dark Knight trilogy because it didn't move into anything supernatural. Like very much based around, particularly the first one with the mafia. Like I find that really interesting. That's why I really love the Batman behind us, because again, that was
grounded.
I just think I find that stuff more interesting than this galactical battle between beings and this person's from a multiverse. Like I find that too much.
I agree with you, and I disagree with you, because I think comics themselves were created due to politics. Like X-Men is literally an allegory for what was happening back then, and all of these things to me were brought by politics, right? Captain America fighting Nazis, all this stuff. But ultimately, when you involve, gods like Thor or the Hulk or, I'm blanking here. Captain Marvel, literally like an interplanetary being. These kinds of things, unfortunately, have to have an equivalent bad guy. So they have to be like, oh, well, this guy is, Thanos. This is Khan. This is, whatever. The reason that I think the real problem for me is the execution, because again, you said you really like grounded stories or whatever, but you loved Endgame and you loved.
Well, it's like it doesn't necessarily have to be so grounded. I like the thing where it's like draws parallels to our world. You can understand, like Thanos. Like to me, the fact that he came from a planet that was overpopulated and couldn't manage, and that's the whole reason why he wants to do what he's doing. That to me, that's political. Like in my mind,
I agree.
So I think that works really well. But someone that's like there's got to be a reason for the villain to why they want to do their thing. Where the Skrulls, in Secret Invasion, makes sense. They're refugees in this planet. They can't live on their own. Political makes no sense.
I agree. But that is what I'm saying is that like these are aliens we're talking about, like literal aliens. But we're saying they're aliens as in they are the undocumented immigrants in this planet, right? So, and then the Thanos thing you just said, again, you're correct. He literally wants half of the resources of the universe to be gone, or half the people to be gone, so that more people have resources. And because his planet was that way. And it's understandable, like his plight is understandable for the most part. But ultimately, his goal is political, but the way that the story is told is very grandiose, right? So it can be done, even like in my opinion, a small film like Shang-Chi. I love Shang-Chi. It was after, like, I like to use Shang-Chi as an example because it's after the entire phase of the stuff, but I feel like it's just as good as any of the beginning MCU films It has a character that no one really knows about, a good origin story, and and the bad guy is his father, and the story, right? And the story that he, like, the reason of why he's evil and why he's, you understand as well, So it's not like he's just evil to be evil. He's evil because he wants his wife back because she made him good, and he wants to be, whole again. Right. And so he has to do all these bad things to be good because he's done all these bad things before, and then he turned good. So he's like, I can do all these evil things as long as I get my wife back because I've done all these evil things before, and then I got my wife and I was good. So you understand his motivations and his character stuff, and it's a good contained story, even though they're talking about another complete, fantasy world and there's dragons and all this other stuff. But yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I feel like these stories can all be told. It can be grandiose. It can be crazy. Still have the what you would say the political base, but what I would call more of a personal story, because those are personal things that you are connecting to. That, like, you enjoy that political aspect of it. I enjoy more along the lines of, this man sacrificed, like in Thanos we're talking about. He sacrificed his mother, his kid, right, his daughter, and you could tell he felt bad about it, but he did it for the greater good, right? Yeah, and that's like that kind of stuff. Even if it's in this giant story where he's traversing planets and using gems to teleport and stuff, it still comes through. So all of these things can be done. It's just the execution of how they do it that they really should have focused on, especially again post Endgame. Like, if you are, for example, running a business or something, you're like, okay, I sold like 100 of these, but only 10 of these. Why did I sell 100 of these? You have to look at what worked and what didn't work. And I feel like they did not do that at all. They were just like, whatever, we're going to just do whatever, and it's going to be fine. And we're going to do 50 of these, and we're going to put whoever we want in them. And it's like, that's not why it worked.
Well, I think they just had that point where they could have brought out literal garbage and people had went and seen it. So they were so accustomed to that they thought that they were the ones that dictated the terms of, we'll tell you what you're going to like, and you're going to like it. Where eventually they found out that, no, people will vote with their feet, and if they don't like it, they won't go see it. Correct. So you need to find out what people actually want to like. You can't tell them what they have to like.
Correct. Also, at the same time, the pandemic happened, and most people, they themselves shot themselves in the foot by putting most of their stuff on streaming. So why am I going to the theater if I know that in 2 months Thunderbolts is going to be on Disney Plus? Yes. So
we're also at a time now where living pressures are way tougher, so people aren't going to the movies as often. So they're only going to see that one big movie per year. And if Marvel's bringing out 3, that people are only gonna probably see one of the 3 things you bring out. And then if they're going to see one, you're going to be competing against some kind of brand new concept like Sinners, for instance. Like, so then you're fighting harder for people's money. So I don't know what model they go for, but it just makes it a lot harder. People don't go see. Where I think when MCU were prior to COVID, movies were probably a lot cheaper. People had more money. They were just seeing things for the sake of it. They're like, oh, it's a new Marvel movie. Oh, yeah, something to go do. Right. When now it's like, no, it's a planned event. Like a lot of people, we're probably the exception. We see a lot of movies, but most of my friends might go once a year. Mainly they don't care that much, but they're also, it's just not something that's important to them.
Right.
So it's a much harder sell. You've got to go bigger, or I don't know, but it's much harder for them to. Well, their formula won't work anymore. They can't pump out as many movies as they do, and they also can't make movies for $1 billion budget or whatever, $500 million budget, because it's going to be hard to make that back.
Make that back ever.
And unfortunately, they built this world where their stars became so big now that they warrant big money. Just any of their MCU stars, whether they want to pick, Chris Hemsworth or Chris Pratt, they're demanding big money. They almost need to unearth nobody so they can start paying them nothing. Like,
that's what happened with Superman.
You think what like Robert Downey Jr., what he would have got given for the first Iron Man to now every appearance now, it's crazy money. Like they're shooting themselves in the foot. They've made their stars so big that they now want just crazy money.
Right. and they're afraid of letting them go is the real problem.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
there is no reason that Robert Downey Jr. has to be Doom. There's no reason. It's
Right.
just because they want the name recognition that they built.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's really the biggest problem was what you said, which is like most of my friends also, they don't really go to the theater like that. When they do, they want to see a good movie. So if it's like people that they trust and they know, and like several people have told them, oh yeah, man, Sinners, oh, go watch that. It's an amazing, and then they'll go watch it. But it's not something that they're like, oh, I want to go to the theater this month or this week. You know, what am I watching? It's more like, oh, if people tell me there's a good movie out, then I'll go to the theater maybe. But if not, most people don't. And so if you wait, right, like if you're waiting for this one movie a year and it's Captain America 4, you know, and you're like, okay, I know Anthony Mackie. I saw him in good Captain America films. So I'm probably going to enjoy this one. And then you don't. You're like, I'm not going to watch Thunderbolts. I'm not watching Fantastic Four.
I definitely don't think people have had enough of superhero films. Like the busiest film I went to all year without a doubt was Superman. Like that was crazy busy when I went to see that. But in saying that, Superman is like hard to fathom the popularity that he has.
Right.
But again, it's been a while since I've had something new from Superman. The DCU don't pop out stuff as often. No. They're kind of, I don't know, people are excited about what's going there. It's like the opposite of Marvel. They're kind of now moving into their phase. So hopefully they do it better.
Right.
You know, they've got a couple of spin-off shows, but, you know, not going crazy. Right. They're not pumping out too many movies. They're crossing over a few things, but they're not trying to be nutso with it. So, I'm excited about that. What did you think of Superman?
No, I loved it. But they have hindsight. You know, they have what Marvel did to basically build off of. Especially they have James Gunn literally from Marvel to be like, I saw it firsthand. I know exactly kind of what to do and what not to do. And also they have the hindsight of the DCU, the first one, which tried to do what Marvel did in like lightning speed. They were like, Batman movie, Superman movie, Avengers, not Avengers, Justice League, boom, right here, right now. And it's like, okay, who's Aquaman? Who's Cyborg? Who's the Flash? Who are these characters? And then afterward, okay, we'll give Flash a movie. We'll give Aquaman a movie. Like, so they kind of like lightning rounded what they were trying to do. And it was completely, you know, horrific, in my opinion, what they did with these characters. And so now James Gunn gets to take his time. He gets to build up the hype, because that's literally what all of these movies, all of them are based off of, for the most part, besides, you know, most of them being good, is hype. It's the hype. It's the hype train. That's it. It's literally that. That's what comic books are. Yo, did you see what happened to Batman? Oh man, did you see what happened to this guy? Did you see what happened to Superman? Superman died.
Yeah.
You know?
There we are. You're back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, like, you know, if Superman dies in the comics, you know, also all the characters have died in the comics at some point.
Yeah.
When Spider-Man dies, when Batman dies, like when all these characters die in the comics, that's a big event, you know? And I just feel like now MCU has just shot themselves in the foot by being like, well, Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man is dead. And it's like, well, there are multiverses. So now, you know, technically this Iron Man is Doom now. So, and it's like, I like, it's not gonna, if there's no consequences, especially in the movies, it's different than comic books, because you expect, okay, this is, you know, ultimately a cartoon, you know, you're going to expect whatever. But if you're trying to do realism and this character just comes back, it's kind of like, then why? Yeah. What is the point? You know, what's the point of this last film? Why am I going to watch the next one? You know, and it kind of, to your point, if there's always a bigger bad guy, right, then why am I watching them fight this bad guy if I know that there's going to be an even bigger bad guy in the next one? You know?
Yeah.
Indeed.
Okay, let's go back to the whole original thing with Dune, and I'm glad we went on that tangent. That was fun. Let's bring it back in. So one of the things out on the run sheet was comparing. So we thought, you know, Paul Atreides in Dune is the Messiah.
The Messiah.
Oh, give him some name. I'm not going to embarrass myself and try and pronounce it. And then Tony is kind of the equivalent, and I think the equivalent in the MCU of being kind of brings the Avengers together. He's the hero. He sacrifices himself. He does all those things. out of those two, which is the more like charismatic leader, the one that you think people are more likely to? Which one would you follow if you had to choose between the two?
I mean, obviously, I have to say Iron Man. Like,
Yes.
it's just obvious. He has much more charisma, much more. Again, the same thing. Lore, history. Like we know the character more, right? We've only known Ilsan Al Gaib as Ilsan Al Gaib in the second one, not even the first one. In the first one, it's the guy with the knife in the desert. Yeah. So now, and again, he still hasn't really shown us anything. He's just controlled someone, I think, once, right? He like spoke to someone and controlled them with his speech. And that's like the cool, thing of this. Instead of having lightsabers, they have like this psychic, I guess, ability to like control people with your voice. And that's awesome. That's cool. But that's pretty much it. We haven't seen him like fight a real big bad, even of the Dune world, for us to be, he rode a worm. Wow, he rode a worm. Yeah, it's cool. But Iron Man has the suit, you know what I mean? But also Iron Man is Iron Man. He's a genius.
Well, also question, does Paul even, what skills does he really have? Like they kind of believe he's the prophet because they think he is because he's done these things and he's shown a few things, but has he fought that, he beat Jared Butler's character, whatever, in a fight. But he hasn't done a whole lot to prove, and he doesn't look super strong. He doesn't look like he's got too many special powers. He definitely can't build stuff like Tony can. It baffles me that he is. I guess that's in their world. They've decided that makes him a leader, but even that, he's not even convincing. He seems like a bit of a dickhead. And why would anyone even want to listen to what he's saying? He doesn't really want to be the leader, but then he changes his mind. And then he changed his mind. I believe in the future books, he goes real political, very biblical, and goes a bit crazy. So I don't know. It's a very interesting. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to badmouth Dune all day, but I would choose Tony. What about you?
I'm definitely a Tony Stark fan. I think it's more the charisma of the actor betraying the character, and I think the writing as well. I'm just not convinced that Paul Atreides could have done what he has actually done, and he's very much in the first one. To me, he's not even the main character. It's Jason Momoa in that one, and then in the second one, basically for the entire movie, he's just complaining because his fellow Scar in the movie are saying, you need to become our leader. And then he's like, no, something bad's gonna happen if I do that. And then he's like, I'll become your Messiah. And then, so I don't know, it's a bit hard to lead someone that doesn't even know what they want.
Okay, next thing on the run sheet, we've got plot predictions. I guess with Dune, we could look it up, to be honest. They've written a book about it. So I haven't looked it up, so I don't know. Have you, Jacob?
No.
Do you know what happens in the next one?
No, not
a clue. A wild prediction of what we think's happening. So do you want to go first? What do you think the Dune 3 is going to be about?
Well, because again, the original Dune kind of went through the whole series just in one movie. If they go that route, I would be very disappointed because it's a very disappointing ending. But I think what is his name? Denis Villeneuve, right, is the one doing this. I think he's a very good director for the most part, and he's gonna find a way to make it so that I hope still services the fans of the Dune series. Hopefully they're happy at the end of it, but also for the most part give it to us, the general audience, because I still believe ultimately he's trying to give a movie to us more than to the core Dune fans, because he wants his movies to be profitable. So the first one wasn't that profitable. Again, also due to the pandemic, but the second one was very profitable and people really enjoyed it. So I feel like he's going to, go back and be like, I'm going to lean into, hopefully, the exciting aspects of what just happened to make this third one good. And whatever that is, because I don't know, because there's so many, there are so many bad guys that Paul Atreides has to fight that he has not even met yet in the second film. So I don't know how he's going to beat all of them in the third film. But I don't know if the third film was the end also, because he could just be like, fuck it, 2 more. So I don't know where they're gonna go with it, but I assume there's gonna be a big epic battle between Paul Atreides and one of the families that killed his family or something, and he's gonna lead all these sand people into war.
What do you think, Jacob?
I am assuming, because I've watched YouTube reviews about the future books, and it gets pretty crazy that I believe the child in his mum's belly actually becomes the main character and stuff like that. And then there's a big Paul Atreides becomes a worm, some crazy stuff happens because the original author of the franchise actually passed away, so someone else had to take over, so the story gets really crazy and polluted. So in the third one, I think Zendaya's gonna try and recruit or try and start her own rebel faction and try and see that he's not the Messiah. So we'll see how that goes. But he's going to take on another family, and there's going to be some more battles, hopefully outside of Arrakis and in the space planets.
I reckon I don't think this will be the last film. I think there'll be a couple more, maybe I'll say 3 more. I reckon there'll be 3 more films. I think this one's going to be a slow film. I reckon they're going to build up. I reckon they're going to dive deep into this one and really nut out the universe and the lore and what's going on. And it'll leave you on some kind of epic cliffhanger. But I have a feeling you're going to be in for a slow film, because the last one was somewhat action or more action packed. So I reckon that's where we're going to go. I think they're really going to try and build up this thing of the factions and where they go. But I also think they might deviate away from the books. I believe that Paul Atreides basically becomes a villain. I think they'll move away from that. I think they'll make him the hero.
Right.
I don't think they're going to go down that path. So they'll sway away from the originality of the books and in for a slow film to build up to a 2-part epic finale.
I agree completely. And the reason also is because of the Joker, what they just did with the Joker. Yeah. And literally from first movie to the second movie, the reason everyone hates the second one is because they feel like he's not the same character as the first one. So I feel like if Dune decided to do what, again, actually does happen, as you already spoiled it wasn't me, he did. He spoiled it. He becomes a bad guy. So it's if after all this, everyone's behind him in these movies, they want. And again, Timothée Chalamet is likable. Most people like him. So if you're going to make him a bad guy now, people are probably not going to roll with that and not going to want to watch the next film, if there's going to be more films, and him being the bad guy. So I do assume they're going to change the lore to basically make him the good guy. I completely forgot about Zendaya, so that was good mentioning Zendaya. I forgot that she, in this movie, oh yeah, I hate this guy now that I used to love. I hate him now. And I'm
that's a weird story trend that they made, that they were love interests, and now it's I hate him now just for doing what she wanted him to do.
Yeah, it's right. And all of her people wanted him to do it. It's okay.
Okay, let's go plot predictions for Doomsday. I think this one might be, this is open. This can really be anything. We've kind of got some rough ideas, but okay, we'll go the same order. What are you thinking? What do you think we're going to get in this film? And, how long do we think how many spin-offs, or how long are they going to drag out this battle with Victor Von Doom?
I have not a clue. I assume they're going to try just the one initially to see, to test the waters, if they're even going to get close to the Avengers numbers, and then maybe flesh it out more. If he survives the battle or something, I don't know. But this Doomsday movie has so many characters, new characters, because the Fantastic Four are going to be in it. And they had to rush this Fantastic Four movie out because they're this is a Fantastic Four villain, so we have to find out who the Fantastic Four are to then go to him. And I don't know if you guys have seen the Fantastic Four film. Yeah. Spoilers for anyone that hasn't seen it. The end, when he shows up to the Reed Richards' child, Franklin is this again, you're going to hate this, but God tier, hero in the comics. So I have no idea how they're going to incorporate, now that they have created this kind of plot hole for themselves, Franklin and Victor Von Doom in this one movie, these two very powerful characters that, are literally world-ending characters. But we also have, who's the lowest character is going to be in here? Yelena, who is not superpowered, is just a human, doesn't even have the soldier serum that the Red Guardian has. She is just a human. Don't know how she's going to fight in this doomsday world, right? So I have no idea. As you said, it can go anywhere. I don't know what they're going to do. They somehow made Ant-Man very integral to the Avengers Endgame without him having to actually fight, because obviously he's just Ant-Man. So I think also, sorry to Ant-Man fans that I've been shitting on Ant-Man its entire shit. But I think that ultimately they're going to defeat Victor Von Doom in some capacity, that if they want to create it later, they're going to basically be like, oh, he's not dead. He survived somehow, and here he is again, or whatever. If people are very receptive to his character. Will they? I don't know. Because I do think Robert Downey Jr. is a very, as you said, charismatic actor. But I don't know if he's going to be able to portray the villain role as charismatically, So that's pretty much what the whole movie hinges on, because we met all the other characters. They're okay, but they're not Iron Man, Captain America, Black Panther, so I don't know.
Yeah. What do you think, Jacob?
From all the videos I've been watching about the plot and everything, I believe the plot is going to center around Doom wants to become like Superior Doom or a different version. So he basically wants to collect the Infinity Stones, but he wants to get different characters. So he's got Franklin. So next he'll be getting WandaVision, and then he'll get Vision, and then he'll get Loki. So that's basically the main plot that will be going on. Be getting different characters that represent the stones, and then it's basically gonna follow the same formula. What happened with Infinity Stones? He'll basically kill some characters and he'll win. And then in Secret Wars, the heroes basically got to try and defeat him. But I believe it's actually Doctor Strange's secret plan to try and make it that everything all reboots at the end and we get a new, because that's what they're doing. They're going to reboot the universe of the Fantastic Four, and the Avengers are all in the same universe. So that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was thinking along a similar line. I think they'll drag it out. I think it's going to be one and done. I think the name, to me, I know it's because it's Victor Von Doom, but I think the name gives it's Doomsday. Something Doomsday is going to occur, and then there's going to be a lot of follow-on movies to fix what happened on Doomsday, kind of like the Snap. I think that's what will happen. So I think that the name gives away for me that we're going to have some cataclysmic event and something massive, and then we're going to be watching subsequent films of them trying to find out how to fix what happened, and again it'll involve multiverses and quantum leaps and all kinds of scientific stuff to make it happen. And Doctor Strange, he said, we'll have some kind of master plan, and it's going to be something along those lines. But I think it's going to be a drawn out battle, probably not as long as the Thanos saga, but I think maybe 3 years between first seeing him and then the last of him. So I think they'll get their money's worth out of Robert Downey Jr.
I hope so, because it was a lot of money.
Yeah, so that's my thought. Okay, so there are plot predictions. What about box office? We kind of talked about before where I said I think that I'm looking forward to Avengers more, but I reckon Dune might do better. Like, what are your thoughts?
No, I agree completely. By the time Doomsday comes out, If any other Marvel properties come out and they're not good, then I definitely see it tanking even more. I already see it not doing well, but it will definitely be worse if the projects from here till then, no one's really hyping it up or talking about it. And so to me, that will literally signify the death of the MCU. Whereas Dune still has hype from the second film. And there's nothing they have to do to build the hype for the third one, because the second one's still so like fresh and good in people's minds that by the time the third one comes out, they're like, yeah, I like this one, so I'll go watch this one. Again, talking general audiences, which is basically the people are going to round out the end, because core fans, we're going to watch it regardless. But the general audiences will probably gravitate more towards the Dune because of they already had this experience. And again, the box office for the second Dune was so high that enough people went to see it that the word of mouth is probably really big for the third one. Whereas Avengers, the last thing people probably saw is like, again, Captain America 4, because not Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts did not do well at the box office. So neither did Cap 4, but Cap 4 being the bigger property, I guess, or a character that most people knew, it's the lasting memory of that is if that's the last thing people watch, it's not going to do well for Avengers.
What do you think, Jacob?
I'm going to agree. I think Doomsday 3 is going to definitely smash the box office. And I think the reason being is because it had breathing space. And I think it gives time for people to actually read the books, educate themselves with the story, and actually rewatch the first one and the second one, because that's what gives people memory as well. And the problem with Avengers Doomsday, I'm personally more excited for Avengers Doomsday, but I can be honest, Doom 3 will make money. The problem with Avengers Doomsday, there's so much content to watch, it becomes like homework. And I think that's why people have bounced out of the multiverse sagas, because you got TV shows, you got movies, and who is the main character anymore? It doesn't have that identity what Doom 3 does. And except for 2 movies and a TV show, the sky's the limit for Doom 3. So I think Doom 3 is going to smash the box office and will probably win quite a lot of awards like Doom 2 did.
Yeah, well, I think I can't see Dune 3 having less viewers than Dune 2. People left Dune 2 in general liking it. So I imagine they're not going to suddenly go, I don't want to watch the third one. So you're going to get those, and then maybe more people, because you've got the breathing space of new people that haven't seen them. I'm going to see Dune 3. Oh, what's that? Oh, I've never heard of that. We'll just go watch 1 and 2 and we can go see it together. Like people can jump on the bandwagon late. It's not that, 4 or 5 hours worth of viewing and you're caught up to speed.
Yeah, and the show.
Yeah, that's not too hard. So I think I can't see it doing worse than the last one. Avengers, like anything MCU's kind of on the downwards trend. This will spike up more than what we've seen. I think it'll do better than Captain America. But still, it's got a lot. Like, I don't know if it can make its money back from what it's going to cost to make it. Like that, seriously, it needs to, significantly do better than every other MCU in the last few years to even break even.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna. I think it might be a better movie, but I don't think it will make the box office numbers that Dune will. I think the thing that possibly could have saved it and built up a lot of hype was Fantastic Four. And as much as I thought the movie was decent, I don't think it made any new fans. I don't think there's a lot of people that watched that and got excited for what's next besides us who would have watched what's coming up next anyway. I think if I took, my wife as a casual watcher to watch Fantastic Four, she couldn't have cared less about the end credit scene. She would be like, yeah, okay, what's coming up? I don't care. But that didn't make her excited for what's coming up.
Right.
I actually wonder if it would have had a better effect if we didn't announce that Robert Downey Jr. was going to be Dr. Von Doom, whether that was the reveal at the end credit.
Right.
Because we knew it was coming. We didn't know it was going to be in the end credit, but we're now talking about it, and the hype's getting less, where suddenly you finish that film and someone's like, do you see that end credit scene? They're like, Robert Downey Jr. was wearing it looked like his Victor Von Doom. People are like, what's that? And then they're talking about it. So we've already been talking about it. So it's died off a bit. So
I agree.
So I think maybe that was a weird reveal. I think maybe they had to do it because they thought that if we don't do that, no one will go see our next few movies leading up to Avengers. So we need to tell them what to expect. And so I don't know. It's a weird tactic, but maybe it was their only tactic because maybe they would have some serious flops otherwise.
Yeah. It was a catch-22 for them, honestly.
Yeah.
It was like you're doomed if you don't, and you're literally doomed if you do. Because what are you going to do? You know, it would have, I agree with you, it would have been an expert move if, you know, the guy turned around at the end and it was Robert Downey Jr. in the hood and everyone's like, oh, what?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that's crazy. But, you know, and then that word of hype would have actually probably made that movie more, you know, more money because more people would have been like, oh, we gotta go see it, you know?
But yeah, if they didn't, I think if they didn't reveal Robert Downey Jr. months prior and tell people their plan, then, you know, then people wouldn't have went, nope, they would have had less people go see the most recent movies. And I think because the MCU is so complex, they sadly have to spoil their own movies by telling you their plan because people are like, I don't know what to expect. Am I getting 4 movies this year and 20 the next? Am I getting 1 for the next 5 years? They literally have to tell you and pre-spoil everything. Like there's not often do you see a Marvel movie now and a surprise. You kind of know the scenes that are coming, even to Spider-Man No Way Home with all the memes. The memes and the characters coming in. They tried their best to hide it, but everyone knew it was coming. It was just when are we going to get the scene where they're all pointing at each other? You know it's coming, but it's like, when is it coming? And so they spoil their own movies. And,
even just the what was it, the little chairs that I waited like 20 minutes for them to reveal a bunch of chairs with everyone's names on it. I saw that one. But they basically had a reveal where they had all the characters that are going to be in Doomsday. Like they had the little, you know, those little like director's chairs that people sit in, the little black one with the names at the back. Yeah. They had all that with all the characters' names, right? All of the actors' names that are going to be in it. So we saw, you know, Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby. So I'm like, so this is before Fantastic Four came out. So I'm like, oh, so they're going to survive this movie. So even at the end of, you know, also spoilers for Fantastic Four, whoever hasn't seen it, I'm sorry. When Vanessa Kirby's character is dying, I'm like, she's not dead because she's in Doomsday. And then when she gets revived, I'm like, yeah, I felt nothing because I knew she was going to live.
And she's gone.
Yeah. So it was like all of it, you know, it's like all these characters are going to live because you know they're going to be in this movie. They already told us 3 months ago. So that's kind of like it takes away all of the consequence, you know,
that's how Jacob and I felt about Captain America Brave New World. I know you can find this out through the comic books, but they already revealed the villain and they've revealed the whole big ending of oh my god, the president's the Red Hulk. Like we already knew, so you just like if for me, I don't read the comic books, so I go into the movies and it's all brand new to me. So I would have been watching that going, what's up with the president? Why is he being weird? Why is this happening? You go, oh my god, he's Red Hulk. But I already knew. And it's like you just took it away.
Yeah.
It's almost at the point where they go, well, people are going to find out anyway, so we may as well spoil it ourselves. But some people don't. Some people avoid watching trailers.
I don't even think it's because of that. I think they do it to build the hype, like you said. Like to basically be like, you got to go watch this. Red Hulk is in it. And it's like, you could have just, I wish that was a surprise, you know? It ruins it for the people that are going to go watch it, you know, anyway, like us. But the people that, you know, wouldn't have watched it, they're like, oh, okay, Red Hulk, I like Red Hulk. I'll go see it. And so, you know, but it does ruin like every surprise of the movie.
Yeah, but I just think they forget that they are so big and popular. They don't have to ruin things. People are going to see them. It's not like this brand new concept and you've got to convince people to like it. It's like you're huge. You are owned by Disney. Like you don't need to do this. People will you could probably build up more hype by bringing out a movie with no trailer. And people like, I have absolutely no idea what this is going to be. Well, you're going to have to go see it to find out. And people, the suspense might even go, I need to find out.
1,000%.
Because they can. It's like if we wrote a movie tomorrow and put it out there, no one's ever heard of us. They don't know what it is we need to build up hype. They could probably, they're big enough to not need to hype things up.
1,000%. I agree with you 1,000%.
Yeah, like it's a bit odd that they don't realize that. It's like there's some brands out there, like whether it's like McDonald's or Ford, they're so big they don't need to hype their products up. They just put them out there, and their loyal fans hand over their money for it. Like they
Correct.
don't have to work so hard because they end up just ruining things.
That's correct.
But yeah, it's a bit strange.
It is strange.
Okay, so that's our box office predictions. Moving down the run sheet. Preference towards sci-fi or superhero films?
Oh, I have a preference for sci-fi films, but I do love superhero films. I'm gonna. Is it equal? I feel like it's equal to me in my head. I just feel like I have watched like my favorite. Obviously, one of my favorite films is Spider-Man. As a kid, that was like the best comic book movie. Spider-Man, the first one with Tobey Maguire.
Yeah,
and you know, I don't know. I feel like it's equal. I can't pick. I can't, because again, sci-fi. I have Aliens. I have Predator. I have Star Wars. I have. There's so much Star Trek. Like there's so many good sci-fi. Everything.
Yeah, sci-fi is a very broad genre too. Yeah. I guess as well, it's like to me, I think sci-fi is usually more thinking required. There's a lot more. There's complexities to it, which make it good. Where superhero can literally be like good guy versus bad guy. They fight, and the good guy wins. Like, generally a pretty simple formula. Where sci-fi can make its own rules.
Right.
Like it's kind of endless. Where if you make superhero films and you sway too much away from the formula, people hate it. Like they really hate it. So you can't sway away from the formula.
Yeah. Also, I feel like it doesn't work. Right. If you have Batman and he's a detective, comes out at night or whatever, and it's like, oh, it's Batman in broad daylight, going to the bank. What are we doing here? Like that's it doesn't work. So sci-fi though. Again, you have shows like Black Mirror, like Doctor Who, and it's like Doctor Who for me is like peak sci-fi because it blends the goofiness of being like a superhero with like the seriousness I feel of sci-fi. I don't know if you guys watch Doctor Who or have seen Doctor Who.
I know a bit of it, but I haven't watched it. I see people talk about it.
Who's your favorite Doctor?
That's controversial.
Okay.
For me, it's David Tennant, but that's because that's
what's wrong with that choice.
No, I don't think anything's wrong with it. I just feel like other people have other favorites, and so
What, Matt Smith?
Like Matt Smith, yeah. It's literally Matt Smith or David Tennant. Like the other ones are great. Eccleston, I love, but I came in with David Tennant, and that's my Doctor. But I watched the other seasons, the ones prior and the new ones. So I enjoy, a lot of the Doctors, but David Tennant is my favorite. But speaking of David Tennant, the episode that I first watched from Doctor Who was the Blinking Angels. I don't know if you remember that episode.
I haven't watched Doctor Who.
Okay, so they're aliens, but they're statues. They look like giant angelic statues that you would see at like church or something. Okay. And if you blink, they move.
Oh.
And if you look at them, they can't move. So every time you blink, they get closer and closer and closer. And just that concept was so eerie and cool that I'm like, oh man. And so I watched, all the whole series. And I recommend it if you guys haven't watched it, just watch the series, especially David Tennant seasons. Those are the best. But that, level of storytelling that you can have in sci-fi that you can't really have in like a Batman show or a Superman movie or a Spider-Man, movie. And, and the reason, by the way, that they're trying to catch these people is because if they catch you, they steal time from you. So as soon as they catch you, you are now back transported in like 1819 or something. And then the life that you had, they take. So you're now in the past, and that life that you lived is the life that they took from you in the present. So it's really cool. It's a cool concept. But that kind of stuff, you know. And then there's, you know, the other elements, you know, like how we talked about that, you know, the Skrull in Secret Wars want to live here because they're refugees and stuff. That's a very sci-fi element in a superhero show, but I would still call that sci-fi, not really superheroes, right? So
I find the whole, like, I haven't seen Doctor Who, but I find it an interesting concept that they get new doctors that they've kind of like future-proofed themselves. Like they're not locked into one person, you know. And I'm sure if they haven't already, they could find some way to justify bringing someone back if they were really popular.
They have done that several times.
It's a very interesting concept that a show can do that. That it's very forward thinking of future-proofing, and it's, I guess, a show that could probably go on forever in that sense, if that's the case. Where, you know, not too many shows can do that. Besides like cartoons where you can kind of go on forever because the characters never age,
right?
It's very hard to do something like that. Or where this is a show that's very much future proof. I think, which I find interesting, which is kind of back to what we're saying about the MCU, that they create all these problems that they can't solve. Where Doctor Who kind of worked it out from the beginning, but it obviously works uniquely to what they're doing.
I mean, they didn't initially. It was like a kind of like a detective show almost, and then like it evolved into more sci-fi, and then they were like, well, he's an alien, so he regenerates, and every time he regenerates, he becomes a different corporeal form. So then that's how they have different people playing technically the same character. And so because he also travels in time, he can technically travel to a time where he existed as a different version of himself. So that's how you have David Tennant showing up where Matt Smith is, and Matt Smith showing up where there's a female doctor. And like, that's how they're able to bring back and have cameos with all these old doctors and stuff. Which, again, genius concept, that they did think about it technically in the second season of the show, but it works for them still to this day. So genius.
What's your thoughts, Jacob? Sci-fi or superhero?
It's very hard to say, but I would probably have to say sci-fi, because I think you can do a lot with superhero movies, but I think you can do extremely a lot with sci-fi. You can tell a ingenious idea like Interstellar and tell a awesome idea like The Martian, and there's so many awesome concepts. And my favorite TV show, I don't know if you've heard of Stargate SG-1.
Yes,
that is an amazing show.
Yes.
And also Atlantis. Universe went a little bit different for its first season, and then the show was actually starting to get good, and then it didn't get renewed for a season 3, even though it ended on such a cliffhanger. Universe. But I would probably say sci-fi over superheroes.
Obviously, I think sci-fi is like a really, really big genre. I'm going to pick superheroes because I think my favorite movies tend to be superhero movies over sci-fi. I think genre-wise, it probably outweighs and is better. But if I was just purely basing upon if I had to pick a top 5 movies that could only be sci-fi or superheroes, I think superheroes would dominate that top 5.
What's your favorite superhero movie?
Oh, favorite superhero movie.
The Batman.
I really like the Batman. I didn't think I would, and I absolutely love it. I'm a huge Batman fan.
What about the Joker?
It's up there. It's top 5 for sure. I really enjoyed the Joker. Like I have a soft spot for DC characters. Where we live on the Gold Coast, there's a big theme park that's full of a movie world. So it's full of all the DC characters there. So I grew up, going there and the holidays, getting photos with Batman and Superman, and going on the Batman and Superman different rides, and even my son now, and getting photos of riding in the Batmobile. So like I'm very intertwined with the DCU characters. So I'm biased towards that. So I'm going to go with superhero because I think they would dominate my list of top 5 or top 10 movies if I could only choose between those 2 genres.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So we don't drag this out too long. The one other thing I thought would be a cool idea is if we talked about how we think the Avengers would go in Arrakis. You know, this idea that Paul Atreides doesn't really have these superpowers, but you know, there's worms, and they're like, I don't know who could take on a worm. So who out of the Avengers would be able to survive there? And then maybe if we had to pick a team of our own Avengers team out of superheroes from the MCU, who do we think could tackle the Arrakis landscape and, you know, survive? Would you like to go first?
Oh, sure. So I think it would be Hulk, the survivor of Arrakis, because he was literally punching the giant flying worms in the first Avengers. So sandworms, I just feel like, are kind of the same thing. They just come out of the ground. So I feel like Hulk could take them no problem. Even if he gets consumed by them, he could rip them from the inside. It's just, he's fine. He'll be fine. Paul Atreides surviving in the Avengers world, though, I don't see that happening. I don't see that.
Well, no, he's not very smart. It's not like, because ultimately, like, we've learned from the MCU that, you know, brains get you further than brawns. Like Dr. Von Doom's, you know, meant to be extremely smart. You know, Reed, what's his first name from?
Reed Richards.
Reed Richards, you know, he's very smart. He does get powers, but, you know, he's the smartest man alive. Like, it seems that smarts get you places. Kang survived to the end of time because he invented a time machine or whatever through smarts. Like, you know, so they very much emphasize intelligence over power. But, yeah, I don't think Paul Atreides has either. Well, not to that level of intelligence. Like I haven't seen him build a spaceship or do anything cool yet.
Yeah, all right. I mean, I think, have you guys seen Jessica Jones?
Yes.
I haven't.
The character in the first season of Jessica Jones is very much basically Paul Atreides in the MCU. He the bad guy in Jessica Jones, so that you know, he controls people with his voice.
Played by David Tennant as well.
Yeah, played by David Tennant. He's great. But that's like, you know, his power. And he's a very powerful villain in Jessica Jones, you know? But I feel like in the grand scheme of things, because again, if Paul Atreides, you know, comes into the Avengers and he tells, you know, I don't know, Thor to start, you know, destroying Iron Man or Captain America to go fight, you know, the Hulk or whatever. So if he's commanded them to do things and they had to do it, he'd be pretty formidable, you know, in that sense. But again, I just feel like if somebody just plugs their ears and then kicks him, it's over, you know? So I just...
Yeah, it can only get you so far. Like I guess it's like Professor Xavier, like he kind of can, you know, he can control people through telekinesis. Like could he become the most powerful being in the galaxy because of that? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, like if someone was to attack him from a distance, you know, like a drone strike or something, like how does he stop that?
Exactly. You know? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Also, in that scenario, he'd have to. He only can take over the minds of humans or things that have minds. So if you're a robot, like Ultron, can't beat Ultron. He's a robot, you know. So you know, it just he would immediately be dead.
Yeah, dead. What do you think, Jacob? Or if you had to form an Avengers team, like 3 or 4 characters that you would take to Arrakis, who do you think would make the list or be useful?
I would take Thor. I would take probably Iron Man, and I would take Hulk, and then I think I would take Ant-Man just to, you know, go to small places and someone to go where, you know, places that I couldn't.
I Ant-Man for sure. I'm a big fan of Ant-Man. I think not necessarily because I guess his skill comes from tech, but I still think that's cool. You know, he could take his little quantum things. He could make the worms really small.
Yeah.
You know, they just squash one. You know, he can make himself really big and probably pick up a worm. You know, like
ride it.
Yeah. So I think Ant-Man and the tech he brings would be quite cool. Supposedly with, you know, being able to use quantum physics and science, it seems to be endless, the things you can supposedly do with it. So, you know, he'd find some way to be useful. Yeah, obviously the Hulk, you know, you'd want his strength. Probably need someone that can fly.
Thor.
Yeah, Thor or Tony. Tony would be useful, and Captain Marvel would be pretty handy too. I think.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, damn! Poor Arrakis.
Yeah. So I think that would be useful to come. I think they could handle the Arrakis pretty easily. But yeah, as you said, Paul Atreides. I don't think if he wanted to be a good guy, he could be useful in the MCU. But as a villain, I think he'd be handled pretty easily. Yeah, he'd be probably maybe useful in some kind of like Secret Wars, trying to use him to or like work along Black Widow to try and help infiltrate villains and stuff. But yeah, he's not going to be helpful with hand-to-hand combat.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, so that's how they survived. So which Avenger do you think would be most useless on Arrakis?
Useless.
Yeah, let's keep I guess we don't want to go too niche and pick smaller. Out of the big characters that are in the MCU, can you think of one that would be absolutely useless there? If it was the DCU, I'd be going Aquaman, completely useless. Not helpful whatsoever. So I don't know if I can think of any land but water-based superheroes from the MCU that would be part of the same category.
What's his name? He was the villain in Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Wow, Killmonger?
No,
Yeah.
Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Oh, Namor.
The water-based dude, yeah.
Namu or
Namor,
yeah, okay. Well, I was thinking more heroes. Is he a villain or a hero? I don't know.
We don't know yet.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, he's the equivalent. He's like the Aquaman equivalent inside the. But I think he could go on land or something because like they moved from land to sea. I don't know. But yeah, I don't think you'd have much help there. Can you think of anyone you think would be extremely useless on Arrakis?
Oh, 1,000%. One of the biggest Avengers, Hawkeye.
Oh yeah, she's trying to shoot this worm and it's a bit nothing.
Hawkeye is just dead.
Yeah, I was thinking along the same lines of maybe Black Widow, but she's good at infiltrating places. Like she might, become the leader of the Arrakis people. Who knows?
Maybe.
But yeah, in terms of power, I want to pick someone that has a power, not someone that's just got. But
I just feel like anyone with a power
would be completely useless. He can't swing off.
Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Damn.
He can't swing. There's nothing to swing off. He's got nothing. If it's not in New York City, he's got no chance. He's the only place he's used to.
I feel like we're disrespecting Spider-Man.
Oh, I love Spider-Man, but I was just thinking, I think he wouldn't be. He's somewhat strong, but he without having a suit that allow him to fly, his webs have got no use to it. It's like I love the scene in the Spider-Man where he's like running across the golf course because there's no buildings. I just think that's so funny that they don't emphasize the fact that he is a hero that's only useful in very specific locations. So yeah, I'm going to go Spider-Man.
Okay.
Okay, that's pretty much all the questions I had on there. So is there any questions you want to ask Jacob whilst we've got our guest here today?
Yes, I'm very curious. I've thought of two things to talk about. I'm very curious what your stance is on just getting rid of Kane. Do you think they should have recast, or because Kane was set up very well in Loki, and then in Ant-Man Quantumania, they kind of disrespected the character. So would you prefer it if they kept Kane in the franchise, or apparently they were saying they were planning to get Doctor Doom from the start, where I find hard to believe. Or are you happy that they have brought Doctor Doom in the multiverse?
Okay, so I am glad that Doctor Doom is in the MCU. I wish he was brought about differently. Like I wish organically through maybe the second or third Fantastic Four film he would be introduced. That would have been great, because I really enjoyed Galactus being the first villain that they fought. That was really good. But that's how I, would want him to be introduced, basically, with his main, villains technically are the Fantastic Four. So I don't really like the way that they introduced or RDJ being Doctor Doom. Like, I feel like they could have got another actor, but whatever. Whereas
to be
what?
Who would you prefer to be Doctor Doom?
Oh, I don't have a preference. Even if it's a no-name actor that they just found, would have been amazing. As long as, again, the story that they're telling with him is good, I'm not saying it's bad that RDJ is Doctor Doom. I just feel like it was unnecessary. Whereas I believe exactly what you believe, that it's bullshit. They just shifted from, we can't use Kang now because, personal stuff with the actor. So now we got to pivot to another villain. Let's get RDJ back and he's going to be a villain. And then they were just like, Von Doom, whatever. So I just felt like that was very much rushed. So I didn't really, I don't enjoy that. If Kang was not supposed to be the bad guy, the main bad guy.
Why do it in the beginning?
Yeah, right. Or just have him be in the Loki show and be that main bad guy. That's cool. And then don't destroy everything you just, like the hype you just built for him in Ant-Man. Don't. Yeah. Why would you do that? And then obviously the end credit scene of Ant-Man was all of the Kangs, like the multiverse.
That was cool.
So that was definitely going to happen. And they're just like, we're not doing that no more. And I'm like, okay, now you're just going to do that again, but with two. Like, that's obviously where they're at. So, I didn't enjoy it like what they did, but I understand, I guess. Actually, no, I still don't understand, because Namor, the one you just mentioned, the bad guy from Black Panther 2, also has the same kind of allegations that the actor Jonathan Majors had. So I don't understand why one was kept and the other wasn't. I don't understand that. I guess his allegations are in Mexico, like they're not in America. Maybe that's why, because it's not as well known, because the person alleging the stuff is in another country. But I just feel like if you're gonna allegedly hold this moral, stuff to your actors, then
consistent.
It should be consistent. But yeah, it's whatever. That's they did what they did, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Are you upset because the leaks for the script for Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars seemed like pretty cool with how they were having the two Spider-Mans, and also Nicolas Cage was going to be in it as Ghost Rider, and they were like pretty awesome, and it was going to be like each universe was going to be I forgot what the term was for it, but it was it seemed pretty cool, the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, but unfortunately it's not going to happen.
Oh man, I didn't read the leaked script, so I didn't know. But that's awesome. If they would have brought Nicolas Cage, they should still bring Nicolas Cage back just to be Ghost Rider. That'd be awesome.
I only found out the other day that Nicolas Cage was going to be Superman at one point.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, they never made it, but they did like the posters and they had like the suit made, and never went ahead. And I was like, that would have been cool. That it was this podcast I was listening to that was talking about the biggest paychecks for the least amount of screen time. So they put him on the list because his screen time was 0 and he still got like $10 million or something for it.
That's crazy.
And I think they tried to not pay him, and then he sued them and said, well, I declined other work to set us so I could have this time free. Just because you didn't make the movie doesn't mean I shouldn't get paid. And then he won that, and which is fair. If you go and do the work, or if you're a big Hollywood actor and you knock back work and then the project you're working on gets cancelled, well,
not your fault. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was that. And trying to think who was on the list. I think Marlon Brando was on the list for something. There was a movie he was in and got paid like $20 million and did like 2 minutes worth of work or something. There was, I don't know. It was a really interesting list to see, but yeah, that one was up there pretty high. The Nicolas Cage. The other one was like in Interstellar. Who was
Matt Damon?
I think it was someone else, not Matt Damon. Another character that was like in Interstellar or something that was on it for a very small screen time. Got paid a fortune. But yeah, it was an interesting podcast. But yeah, I know that was my contribution of factor I knew about Nicolas Cage. Apparently, he's in Surfer or Local or something. It's so bad.
Understand?
Yeah, he's in some indie film about surfing that came out a couple of months ago. Apparently, it's like the worst movie ever made. People think it's so bad.
Okay.
Have you seen War of the Worlds?
I love War of the Worlds. It's the classic. It's the best movie of our generation.
I haven't been tempted to see it yet.
You have to watch it. It's so good.
I heard this again on a comedy podcast the other day. They were talking about. They said that the War of the Worlds could be like it's like the modern day Hamlet, where it's like a film where like a different actor tries to see if they can make it good over time, because they reckon it's a role that no one could be good at because you're just one person staring at a screen, and they should just keep redoing to see if any actor is good enough to ever make it a good movie.
I would watch that. I would never watch that.
Yeah, because it's like based upon what I've heard from it, I don't think Ice Cube would ever have the range to be able to pull off that movie. Like he's definitely not, when you think of top echelon actors, it's Ice Cube.
When I think Oscar nominated actors, I think Ice Cube.
Yeah, I must say I like him in 21 Jump Street. All the Jump Street movies.
I love him. Yeah, I love him in 21 Jump Street. He's great. When Ice Cube is Ice Cube, he's really good. Yeah. Like it was one where he was a teacher and he was supposed to fight.
Oh yeah, like Charlie Day. It was like,
I love that one.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
He's great. But when it's like, oh, you have to be a father and it's very serious. Oh, got you. So I'll just stare at the screen and go, "It was you. It was you."
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's so good. It's so good. You have to watch it. What was the second question? You said you had two questions.
My second question, I'm curious because me and Luke have different rankings of how we would rank the Disney Plus shows. I'm curious to know what your thoughts about the Disney Plus shows and what you like, where you would put them, and your thoughts about them. Just curious to know.
All right.
I know from our conversations, I know you like Loki and WandaVision.
WandaVision, yes. WandaVision was one of the better ones. My if I would really say my top favorite, aside from Loki, because Loki's my top favorite, I would say it's the Miss Marvel show. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It speaks to me, it's very much like I have my daughter around the same age, and like that whole dynamic between her father and her is me and my daughter, where I'm like really into the MCU, and I'm like, oh, let's go to the cons, and I'll dress up as like something, and she'll be super embarrassed, like all of this is like, I loved it. And also just the wholesomeness, I guess, of that family and that character. And they even brought him into the recent Daredevil, and that was like my favorite episode of that new Daredevil, was him stuck in the bank and him still being like a good guy. But yeah, like that, I would say that's my second favorite, the Miss Marvel show. WandaVision would be third. What was the other ones? Winter Soldier and the Captain Falcon show. It was okay. It was okay. It wasn't that bad. I enjoyed the villain more than the heroes. Like I like the plight of again, very political. Like the snap destroyed half of us. Why are we going back to having different, nations if we can all just be one nation now, finally, Especially because we still have to deal with extraterrestrials. Why are we not just one race, humans, fighting against these other races? Instead, we're still segregating ourselves. And I really enjoyed her plight until, they made her a real villain and she started killing innocent people. Yeah. But yeah, that would be, I guess, my third show. I did not like She-Hulk. I did not like Secret Wars. What else can I not rank? Oh, I liked Agatha All Along. That was surprising. That was a surprise.
Yeah, it was surprising.
Which one?
I really enjoyed it.
All along.
I still only saw the first episode. I actually forgot. I watched the first episode then when it first came out, and then forgot to continue. And now I actually forgot that it was still a thing.
Yeah, I binged it after it all came out, so I didn't have that problem. But I could see how that would be a problem.
Yeah, maybe I should go back and watch, because the first episode I think was, from memory, I didn't like it a whole lot. I was like, oh yeah, this is interesting. I don't really know where this is going.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts about Moon Knight?
Oh, Moon Knight! I forgot about Moon Knight. Oh no, Moon Knight is higher than and almost all these shows. Moon Knight is right after, I would say, right after WandaVision. I love Moon Knight. It's so good.
Yeah.
I hope it gets a second season, and I hope they keep it contained. Like, he doesn't have to be part of anybody else's thing. He has like his whole world in his head. Like, we're fine keeping him just himself.
He's the Moon if you play Marvel Rivals.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, can you play as Moon Knight on that?
Yeah, that's who I play as.
That's
Okay.
rare.
Yeah, I didn't. That show disappointed me. I thought it was going to be
You
really
didn't
good.
like it?
I didn't hate it, but I thought it was going to be like exceptionally good, and it was just okay.
Yeah.
I thought like reading about the premise of Moon Knight before it came out,
Right.
and then it was
Got
not
real hype.
premise. I was just like, oh, I was like, I thought it was going to be this, and it was something else.
Yeah.
So that what kind of annoyed me. Where I don't know if other fans of it kind of knew this other version, or they knew where it was going, but I was, after reading about it, I'm like, when's that going to happen? Like, I thought he like saved someone and got sacrificed himself and died, and then he was given these powers, and I was like,
Conjure.
yeah, I'm like, where's all this coming? And then it didn't happen. So I was like, oh, damn.
I liked it until, I would say, the last episode. I think it was the last episode when they went like full Power Rangers, and it was just
Kaiju fight.
two giant kaijus fighting. I was like, okay. But
Yeah,
other than that, I enjoyed it.
What's your thoughts about What If?
Oh, What If? I don't even count because I guess it's an animated show.
It is.
But out of the animated shows, it's definitely up there. I actually enjoy the Star Wars animated shows a little
Vision.
bit more. Than the MCU animated shows. But I like What If, I like the Spectacular Spider-Man, I think is a new one. Like, I like it for the most part. They're okay. They're not like, amazing, nothing like Into the Spider-Verse or something like that. Or K-Pop Demon Hunters, which is a more recent great animated movie. But yeah, I enjoyed What If. I think the zombies one I'm gonna enjoy a little more because they kind of did it in What If, but not well. So I feel like the actual, like, doing Marvel Zombies, the actual comic, if they're gonna stick to it,
Yes.
if they're gonna stick to it, I think that'll be my favorite one because I love that run of the comics that I had read the comics. But yeah, I like What If. I do like What If. I like the Wakanda Is Forever as well. What's her name? Ironheart. Also, I really enjoyed. I didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah, I want to. I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, I reckon I'd like that. And then again, it kind of, time went by and I forgot.
Forgot. Yeah, I know.
I think it was because I was turned off because when the trailer got released, it got slammed. Like, I think it had really, really negative reviews on the trailer and people badmouthed it a lot. Yeah. So then I think I just assumed it was a bad show because of that, but that was before the show came out.
Yeah, no, it's a good show. It's a good show. I would say you would think it's probably okay, because I think it's okay. It's not that bad. For what it is, and again, to me, to revitalize the Iron Man mantle, it's pretty good. And it's in a city that it's set in Boston, so it's in a city that we don't rarely see. We usually see New York or LA or all the big ones, but Boston doesn't get a lot of love. So I feel like it's good. It's a good show for that. I think that's it. What other MCU shows are there? I forgot.
Echo and Daredevil Born Again.
Okay, Daredevil Born Again. I like some episodes.
Yeah,
I like some episodes of Daredevil Born Again. Daredevil's Netflix version, amazing. Punisher from there, also amazing. And the episodes that I do enjoy of Daredevil Born Again are the ones with Punisher in them. So, yeah. So I'm like, but yeah, no. And then Echo, I completely forgot. Like, I watched the show and I completely forgot. And it's funny because that also means the Hawkeye show I remember only Yelena from that show. I remember her showing up saying that she wants to make mac and cheese or something, and that's it. And then I erased the rest of that show.
That really disappointed. I was really looking forward to Hawkeye because I enjoy Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah, me
I
too.
think she's a really great actress, but as well, I was excited because it was a Christmassy show, and I'm obsessed with Christmas. I love Christmas movies, Christmas shows, everything Christmas. And I was like, oh, cool, it's a Christmas show, and it had elements of Christmas.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I don't think I would. It's not something I'd watch every Christmas just because it's Christmassy now. I think it was.
I agree.
Seen it once, and that will do.
I agree.
I just interestingly think my favorite things on the MCU lately or Disney Plus that are animated. I know it's not made for me, but is their kids cartoons like Spidey and his amazing friends and Iron Man and his awesome friends.
Yeah.
Like they're made for little kids, but seriously, that is building that's where their new fans are going to come from. Like I have a 4-year-old son and they're like his absolute favorite shows and he loves Young Jedi. So they're infiltrating these kids to like Star Wars, MCU early. So like I guess that's one thing for the future they've got look forward to. The storylines don't fit in at all with what happens in the MCU because they're all kids. So like Tony Stark's parents are one, still alive. Two, he's like friends with Ironheart and Iron Hulk because he's mate. And they're fighting Ultron and they're like 10-year-old kids. Like, well, it doesn't make sense why he's fighting Ultron and he's friends with Vision. But it's still like building these new future fans. So I think that's one thing they're doing that's future-proofing themselves that's clever. So I forgot to give the MCU credit after bad-mouthing this whole time about not future-proofing. They are thinking towards the future, but like 10 years down the future.
Or they're just, building the hype to then disappoint them also.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Disappointment.
So I actually think what they make there is very clever, and it's funny how they make the shows like kid-friendly. Like have you seen any of them?
Yeah. I've watched Spidey Friends. I saw an episode or two of the other one,
Iron Man.
But yeah,
but the Spidey one for like Rhino like steals ice cream. Like they're not doing something real villainous. It's kind of like funny and kids find it like likable. I think it's cool, and they're very clever with their theme music because they try and get like early 2000s punk bands to play the music for it. So like the Spider-Man, these amazing friends. It's from Fallout Boy. Can't think of his name. He does the song and it's awesome. And then the new Iron Man, these amazing, awesome friends. It's done by the guy from Blink 182, and it's like it's good. Like the theme, like they awesome their songs. So they've like my son gets into them, and then I get into it, and then like I've been trying to teach him how to play them on guitar. So it's like it's cool. Like they found a new way to engage fans, young and old. So I think they're doing a good job with that. Okay. We understand it's very late where you are. We've been here for 2 hours. Do you want to wrap it up, Jacob, so we don't keep the man any longer?
Indeed. Well, thank you for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the live stream, and see you all in the next video. Let the force be with you, and have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me, guys. See you.
No worries. Thank you so much for coming.
Of course.
And this...